Welcome welcome all to your wonderful show, and thank you very much for giving us access into your living rooms. Your host, Maponga J, your program, Sankofa. The Africa that we are looking at has a illustrious history, a confusing present, and even a more boisterous tomorrow that we're looking for. In the midst of us trying to make sense of everything that is happening around the face of the earth, human existence and human sexuality has always and constantly become a question. And from where we are coming from to where we are, and as the new century is unfolding, bringing to us all various forms of new challenges that we have to deal with in the 21st century. I would not find a better time again than to introduce to you my illustrious panelists tonight, as we are going to be discussing a life story. Now, this is no longer, we hear on the grapevine. It's a life story of Dimakatso, who is going to be introducing us and taking us through her own life journey on the, this LGB, transgender, transsexual, transvestile, it looks like there's a whole lot of transportation happening around the face of the earth as people are moving from one end to the other, academically, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and otherwise. And many of us sitting at home, we look at people who find themselves in this situation with a pen and paper, with the temperature gauges, sanity measurement sticks to see abnormalities and normalities, and many times they found themselves on the margins of human civilization, jobs, insecurities, this whole thing of ID, are you male, are you female? And you must constantly be explaining yourself as to who you are. Who am I to judge? I'm just like one of all of us, brought up by the same stereotypes in the community, but it's important on your channel here, we bring you real people with real stories, and they have a chance to share their own stories. Greet the audience out there. Dimakatso.
Good evening, South Africa. My name is Dimakatso, a proud intersex person. Born and raised from Vosloorus. I was born with both genitals. I was born with a vagina.
Boom.
I was born with a penis.
Boom.
Proud intersex.
You're calling Gatas.
No, actually.
No, I'm saying, I'm talking on behalf of my people. You were born with a full female and then full male.
I was born with both genitals, a vagina and a penis, and which makes me an intersex person. Okay. So I am not a male. I am not a female. I am an intersex person. Because I was born with both genitals, and I was born in Baragwanath Hospital. 1st of April, mind you. April Fool's Day. Hey, a lot of people were fooled that day.
Your mom should have been stuck.
Oh, my angel. I think I still believe it in my whole heart that my mom was ready, because I'm very strong today because of the mom, the Mbogoto that brought me up, because she was never ashamed of me, because Ogamanje, Abazali, getting umntwana with both genitals, already it's a curse. Okay. It's demonic, it's witchcraft, it's not normal, un-African, ungodly, you name it. And to my mother, to my parents.
There's no pastor who
I was a blessing.
There's no pastor who came to try to pray this thing.
There've been a lot of them, but the problem started with the medical institute, where I was born, right at the birth. Take us slowly. Just when I got here, already, it wasn't my parents that were confused. It was the doctors, which made a whole lot of mistakes by doing the surgeries. Because for people to believe, they believe that intersex, when you're born intersex, already there's something wrong with you. And there's nothing wrong with being intersex. There was nothing wrong with me. There was not even a confusion that I was born with both genitals. It was a matter of just to feel. It is my reality, and it's my normality, being an intersex person. That is who I am. And as I was saying, that the problem started there with the medical people realizing that this person has both genders, and they wanted now. They took me through all the scans and all X-rays to see which chromosomes are dominant and what not is not, exactly. So kind of like I started becoming an experiment, and mind you, without my permission, because that's taking away my children's rights. Obviously the first operation, it was now the conversation between my parents and the doctors. So
how old were you then?
I was 0.
You were 0?
Yeah, the first operation, I was 1 year, 6 months.
1 year, 6 months?
Yes, sir. So meaning between 1 year, 6 months, I had no birth certificate. It was there with no gender.
They did not know whether to put an F
or an M.
Or to put an M.
Yes,
that
sir.
was the difference of
So
your life.
to feed the social boundary, so because they removed the penis, and then I was through hormones all my life. Not actually my whole life, I think until I was the age of 16, because that's when I stopped taking the hormones without even my parents knowing.
So they started pumping you with hormones?
Yes.
To move you towards the female side?
Yes, sir.
They did not allow the natural process to take place? So
no.
after their operation,
yes,
then they started driving you in the direction of their own medical decisions?
Yes. And I think that's where actually the problem started, because hence that's why when it comes to intersex people, they're taking it as if it's a medical problem. Hence there's more than 30 variation of intersex people. There's more than 30 types of intersex people, and I'm what's called an ambiguous intersex, because I was born with both genitals. And so because of all the operations that were done to me.
Cutting and pasting?
I wouldn't even say pasting, but it was a lot of cutting. To feed the social boundary.
Social orientation.
Social boundary. So that when I show up, Mr. Mabonga can say that's a woman, or Ukoko could say that's a man. So they had to make either a man or a female. But then with the operations that I went through, Mabonga, is that as they remove the penis, and it's when they remove a penis, obviously they leave in the vagina. But with me, what they left there, I still have no idea what it is. Because if they're leaving a vagina, obviously there's supposed to be a hole where a penis penetrates, right? And that's what I don't have. I don't even have that hole. If probably I had a man or a boyfriend today, would probably have kids. I don't have a womb. I don't go through periods. I'm not like any other woman, and I'm not even like any other man.
Go slowly now. This is too much for an old man to take in one bite. You know, so they cut off the male genitalia.
Yes.
They leave you with what looks like a female organ.
Yeah.
But that female organ is non-functional.
Yes, sir.
And of all the X-rays they did,
yes, sir,
they don't identify there's no womb or there's a womb.
I've spent 6 years of my life of my childhood at Baragwanath. I only left home through pass out. I'll only go on special occasions like Christmas or my birthday or either my parents' birthday.
You want the experimenting table?
Yes, sir. That's why I never understood when growing up. I never understood why they call it a private part, because I never had privacy from
start.
It
was a public part.
Exactly.
I did not on a lighter.
More than 20 doctors
checking every morning.
Yeah, I was actually that patient that was forever naked. I only had a gown and no clothes on, because basically was forever ready. It was norm for me just to take off my clothes, and there will be a million doctors going through my body.
My word.
So, yeah.
On a lighter note, they say if you sleep with 1 man or 2 men or 3 men, it's still a private part. But after 6 or 7, it's a public. But take me through your kindergarten, your primary school. You know, how was that experience?
Your school was. Well, hence I'm saying I'm grateful for my parents, and I'm grateful for them actually being spiritually rooted. I don't even think I would have survived mentally, because I don't know how many times I've tried killing myself. Suicide. Because I didn't feel normal. So at school, I've experienced Mfana Ntombazana. Uzenza Mfana Ntombazana. And mind you, angzenzi anybody, I'm me.
You are you.
Yes, sir. And I don't want to be a man. I don't want to be a man. I don't even want to be a female. I just want to be me. I'm okay with me. I'm okay with the way God created me. And I believe it with my whole heart that He created me for a purpose. And the purpose is not for you as heterosexual people, not even to judge, to cut and paste.
Oh, my word.
Because right now, with all the surgeries they did to me from birth, even today I still pee blood.
My word.
Yes, sir. You know, and today I carry an ID that says an F.
That says female?
I'm not one.
You are not female.
I'm not female.
You are not skewed.
I'm not even male. And I wouldn't even want to be any of those genders. I have my own reasons, especially with females. Most females would be like, Dimakat, you must be grateful that you don't even go through period pains. Well, who wouldn't say that?
But I want them. If I'm a woman, I want to experience it.
Nah, I'm okay with that, Papa. I'm very grateful with the way God created me. And if it was, I don't believe it was to confuse other human beings. It was to showcase that I am God. And I'm a very creative God. And with my life, with my journey with God, me personally, I've learned that you know, it's either a boy or it's exactly. You know, with me, it was not only my parents that were surprised. You must understand that me as an intersex person, I'm not the only one that went through trauma. Even my parents. Like I said, I spent 6 years at Paraquaneth. That means my mom had to leave her job. Because every day...
Full-time job?
Full-time job. And mind you, she must take discrimination. She lost friends, she lost families. She had to explain. What? I know you trusted me. And there is no being, by the way, for people like me. And people like me, there's nothing we need except love. And there's no any other different way except just to give love like any other child. There's no remedy, there's no principle, there's no parenting skill that takes
Well, and just while you're on that, how did this classification affect your career selection and other things?
Well, it affected me quite a lot. Like you were asking, even in school, you know, the challenges, especially in primary school, you know, coming to toilets. You know, there's female toilets and there's male toilets. Hello, yeah. So it became a norm for me. I don't want to make people uncomfortable. For me also not to be comfortable, uncomfortable. So, being is bamba a toilet. And that affected me in the long run, hence I'm even peeing blood. Though that's something, intersex people, mostly we suffer from kidneys. We have kidney problems, most of us. And
Baragona has disappeared now.
You know,
I mean, if they were so keen, if it's an experiment or it's a study, and you are interested in a study for 6 years, and how old are you now?
I'm 36.
36?
Yes, sir.
Now here is the full life story of the experiment you started at 6 years old. Why would some institutions and most like some of them are still alive and are still where they are?
They're still happening.
So the question is, why would they not have an interest in
I'm going to be honest with you. This still happens even today, and which is our fight as intersex people, that our parents are silenced. And you are told what happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas, especially after your child was done operations. Good, you keep quiet about this. So this child, you see, they do these operations when you're a kid, and they forget you're going to grow up. You see, that's the problem.
And then the psychological, the emotional, the hormonal,
it affects you.
It's never operated.
When I got home at the age of 6, because my parents, obviously, they were too insecure and obviously too protective. Because I experienced coming back home. You know, I'm from Ekasi. Ekasi, when you're pregnant in the early 80s, already, you know, Ivano expecting she's pregnant, and then, you know, with my family, obviously, was a different story. I see it's, you know, it's a miracle. And with how we were brought up, see, with me, my parents knew when after the operations, or you know what, we believe these doctors, seemingly they probably took the wrong tool. Because when I got back home, the first toys I wanted was the bike.
You wanted a bike?
I wanted a boy.
Are you a bike?
Not yet.
You must come and join me.
I'll definitely come. I'll definitely join you. Yeah. So that's the...
Your hormones were more on the male side. You wanted to express yourself, but easily moving between the two sides with no conflict.
To be honest with you, Baba, I don't want to say my hormones are on a male side or on a female side, because that would actually create another. They're on the me side, because there's people like me that exist.
I'm saying you could move between the two boundaries.
Exactly. My mom used to call me, I'm her boss. I'm her best of both.
Okay.
And that's why I grew up calling myself a bat.
Go. Just throw in one question there. I think you're looking very intently there. From the traditional perspective, such cases, what would you be saying from the indigenous knowledge side? When such situations manifested themselves, what would have been causes and what are the possible contributions on that?
Kamagweni viewers. Oh, it's a very, for me, it's a very tough one, I would say, but it's something that we from the traditional perspective have learned to accommodate. And it's something that when we sit back, that's why you find that, because I was about to ask Gote, when we were having a discussion earlier on, she mentioned that there's a variety of them. I even asked, what's the difference between somebody who's gay and somebody who's lesbian? How different are you from those people? Which is something that I would like her to answer. So for the fact that when we having, like myself as a female, but you find that now I'm lesbian, you know, but we accept you the way you are, you know, and sometimes you find that some of them because the female lozi is dominating, you know, and then they don't know how to create the balance between the two. Then they end up being what if you don't.
That's the whole spiritual side now. I think you're talking about. But I know my minutes are running out on her. I wanted to her to drive something.
Yes.
We've had this whole hype around gays, lesbians, that is flooding on the market.
Yes, sir.
Open up your heart and maybe just share with us, what would you call honesty? What would you call, without again being judgmental, how would you assess the entire environment with the amount of commercialization of the same-sex, sorry for again trying to classify.
It's okay. You know what, besides right, you know, because at the end of the day, when we're discussing, when we're speaking about homosexuality, when we're speaking about homosexuality, in most cases, it brings us to talking about sex. Or it brings us down to religion, you know, and when it comes to same-sex marriages, it's not just the feeling, it's who you are. Being a lesbian, it's who you are. Because most of the people, they mistake it your lifestyle. I always say to people, it's like, oh, Dimakato, you know, I've seen your lifestyle, I like your lifestyle. Like, no, it's not a lifestyle. Rather say my life has style. Because I mean, if it was a lifestyle, it's style change about, you know.
But you can't change.
Exactly, you know. And when you're a lesbian, like Uma was asking, the difference between when you're a lesbian and a gay, and now that you are an intersex person. A lesbian, it's a woman that is attracted sexually, romantically, spiritually, anyhow with another woman. Is a woman, is a female. It's a female.
Okay.
And a gay, fully female with breasts, going through periods, can give birth.
She just
it's a woman who is in love with another woman, who finds attraction in another woman,
same thing with a man
and vice versa with a gay man. And then an intersex person, you find intersex women and you find intersex men. And with me, because I'm an ambiguous, I was born with both genitalia. That just makes me an intersex ambiguous person.
So would you say, as Babapong was saying, that the commercialized thing trying to fit in, how would you then respond to that? Is it too overly commercialized?
Yeah, that's the thing. Actually, I don't want to call it a fight. That's what we are working on. That we don't want people to accept us that we are intersex men or intersex female. As I'm saying with me, it's a matter of there's intersex people. And there's more than 30 types of intersex people. As much as I'm an intersex, ambiguous, born with both genital, I would love for people just to have a knowledge that there's intersex people.
Okay.
That's I believe, and for the fact that they know there's an intersex person, we are celebrated. Baba Mawa Guti baby shower. Already people come with blue things. And when it's a girl, they already come with big, you know. And then Magozudi Maka, so how are they going to celebrate me? Already people are not going to celebrate.
One word in 1 minute exactly.
Yes.
Your comment to the South African legislative framework. Say something to the government.
When it comes to our identity document, I am pleading that my ID document, I don't want it to have an F or I don't want it to have an M because I am born intersex. I have the right to my identity to be true. It has to be.
One way to the parents out there.
Love the way you live and live the way you love and live for God and not for people.
One word for the employers out there.
Employers, be you at all times. All times, praise God like nobody's business and you'll see miracles.
And the community at large,
how do you
want us to look at you?
How do I, like, this is Dimakazi, I'm an intersex proud, God-fearing person. You know, I'm not a man, I'm not a woman, I'm just a proud intersex human being that God uniquely created me, and I'm sure he was very proud.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a unique case. You know, I usually talk a lot. I am out of words. I don't know what to say, how to say, why to say. But this is a reality that other people have to live with daily, that they must wait for doctors with their small little stethoscopes and spatulas and knives to be cutting through and making decisions that impact people way into the future. When we come back after the break, we're going to be talking to Posh. And what is Posh's condition?
TI.
She's a TI. What is a
He's
TI?
a TI.
He's a TI.
He's a transgender intersex man.
Transgender
intersex
man. I'm learning lots of English today. We'll be back right after the break.
Thank you.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in fourth industrial revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
Hello. Being a legal practitioner in South Africa in these challenging times demands lawyers that will help clients beyond legal issues. The ever-changing demands in commerce and tourism require lawyers who have sound and clear business and commercial knowledge, and that's where MB Chabangu Incorporated comes in. Our business, mining, tourism, health, labor, and economic knowledge encapsulated with law and litigation experience gives us an advantage in the legal sphere. Our experience in assisting businesses, government, and various industries with their needs puts us amongst the many progressive and striving law firms in South Africa. Now, to contact our attorneys for assistance with any of the mentioned fields and others, please call us on 012-341-4187 or send us an email on admin@chabangu.co.za. MB Chabangu Incorporated, where problems meet solutions.
Feel the heat.
Just watch this. Let the pictures tell you everything.
It's all the way through.
Oh, what about that? That was really special. Those are the moments that supporters will remember.
Feel the excitement. That was delightful. Feel the heat with Starsat. Feel the heat.
I love Adam Selman.
The girls are really thin. I think it looks very glamorous from the outside.
The life of a model in New York City.
There is such cool prints. So many.
You know, I'm buying this.
Look at me and all the selfie sort of thing. Honestly, I didn't really know that was actually a job. It just didn't occur to me.
Congratulations.
Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with Starsat. Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality here has had no plan.
Now, I believe that my peace is my most valuable asset.
Absolutely beautiful! looking for.
DJ Khaled. It is a day to celebrate.
We're ready for action.
I like it when it's nice and soft. Yeah, that is nice.
How was it like growing up in Nigeria? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what it is.
Feeling is there that, you're doing something special.
Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
You should just be what you want to be.
Experience the extraordinary with Starset.
Well, welcome back on your program here, Sankofa. Real people, real stories, looking backwards at the future, looking back and getting the real experiences of some of the people in the community. And with us on the hot seat is Posh. Introduce yourself to the people out there. Who is Posh?
Posh was born in Alexandria.
Yes.
And I was born intersex.
Intersex?
Yeah. But
what does that mean now?
I was born intersex.
With 2 organs?
Unlike, I wanted to say that.
Okay.
As she highlighted, Kuri, there are different types of intersex people.
Okay.
So I'm a different type. But
we don't know, Chief. We don't know. Take us through.
Please.
You are dealing with someone who is totally ignorant.
Can I not? Can I not?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Can I just keep going?
Okay.
Okay, let me rather say maybe I don't know what type of intersex I am because I never really focused on that.
Okay.
I only focused on my journey now because now I grew up to identify as what you call a transgender person.
Okay.
But because I've had my surgeries now, I'm transsexual.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I was born in Alex. When I grew up, as I don't know how to put it, but I didn't really know I was intersex until recently when I had to go visit the doctors about my transition journey because I wanted to transition because I felt that I identify more as a man. And then I learned, obviously, with research that, okay, there's what you call a transgender. And I felt that, okay, no, I think this is who I am. And I learned when the doctors were busy conducting some
You also ended up with the doctor's table?
Obviously.
All right.
Yeah.
And what did they do, these doctors? Whatever you're comfortable to share.
Take us through the journey.
No, before I transitioned or...
Before, just because what I want to understand is that were you more male side or were you more on the female side? No. And what was the journey, the transition?
I was more on the male side, I can just say that.
Okay.
Yeah, but oriented as a woman from birth, sort of thing?
Yeah, no, I was actually assigned intersex at birth, even though it's not something I'll really entertain or talk or learn more about.
Okay.
And it's until recently that I met people like Abodi Makaz, and then we started talking, and then we learned, okay, this is what's happening. And we learned how we had similar experiences. And yeah, so my journey, well, I decided that I wanted to transition.
Okay.
So I want to be male. Okay, no, don't say I want to be male, but I identify as one. I feel that, okay, there's something missing if I live my life as a woman or as a lesbian woman. So I felt that, no, I want to transition. It was a personal decision that I took. And unfortunately, I didn't have support as Udimakazo. But, I was very strong as a person, but I told myself, okay, this is what I want to do. And yeah, I ended up with the psychologists who, by the way, have to diagnose. You have to be... What do you say? Diagnose. Yeah, it's a diagnosis. They call it. They have to ask you certain questions. I don't know how they tell if one really is trans or. But I sat across the table with a panel of psychologists, and they started asking me questions, and that's when it got to a point where now
you're profiling you, sort of thing, so they would know exactly whether
how I live and my sexual life and the other personal stuff, and that's when they learned that okay, I am. They diagnosed me, and then they said okay, they're gonna give me a go ahead, and then that's when I started my process, and I took the hormones and I had my surgeries. And
they've cut some things also. These doctors are quick with knives, I'm telling you. I'm listening to Dimakazo earlier on, and the first thing they do is, hey, who's got a knife? And the impact. I'm scared of needles, for crying out loud, and imagining people conducting such operations could only be traumatic. But what sort of physical changes did you have to make to reach the place where you wanted? Now you say, I'm comfortable with what I am.
The removal of my breast. No, they removed my breast.
Okay.
So they removed, and now there was. So in your case, there was a removal and an addition. Was there an addition or just removal?
It was just removal.
Okay.
They remove the breast?
Yes.
So...
And then they said, okay, if I wanted to take the hormones, then I could take the male hormones so that they can dominate.
Okay, so they remove the breast so they would drive you towards. Let's just be reckless in our language. I know it's a bit insensitive, but I've not been in this space that I could clean up my language and know exactly how to address that. So they removed the breast and they enhanced the male side.
Yes.
So now basically you more in your attraction is more towards the female now, or you function more towards the female than towards the males.
You mean my attraction?
Your sexual orientation now is now. I'm trying to place you.
Okay.
I'm trying to place so that at least I can understand where.
I date women if that's what you're asking me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm attracted to women.
Okay.
You're attracted to women.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Right. Now I noticed that you've got beads. Are you a gogo, utwasile, and how was your relationship and understanding now being with this transition that you've been through, and the spirituality?
Yeah, this is actually a conversation I always have with a lot of people, and with me it's never that deep. So I grew up believing. I was born in such a surrounding. My mom is a Sankofa, so normally she would just tell me, okay, if you feel good, you want to do something big, just kneel down, and then you'll just get it. If, let's say, abavumi, then izinto zakho angeke zihambe ngale ndlela. So with my transition, I started kneeling down. I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And it got to a point when I got to Epara, because it's a process. People know for one to transition, you have to be like on a waiting list, and it's 25 years long.
Sure.
25,
yeah. That's what people know, though. But when you go to certain organizations, they make it happen for you because they feel good. Okay, this is a serious case because I was suicidal. So they normally take the serious cases and they drive them up and say, okay, so when I knelt down in Abajela, this is what I want to do. And I went to a bar and everything was easy, everyone was welcoming. It's as if they understood me, and that's when I felt it, okay, maybe
this was your path.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that your mother is a traditional healer.
Yes.
And I just from that angle, in terms of support and challenges?
You know, my mom is very supportive, even though she doesn't really have the right knowledge. So that was the only challenge with me. My mom didn't really have access to information. So when I would introduce such topics, I would actually make her watch such shows, or maybe I open a radio and say, oh, they're talking about this. And with her, I started explaining about the hormones. And she was a bit confused, but in a way she was supportive, but she still doesn't understand. But she's just being a parent. And also because she's also a God-fearing woman and she watches, I cannot be that person.
Now, while I'm sitting here, I'm thinking of the young people who could have been in your situation and could be actually in your same situation. Okay. How does it feel like? What was twice already in one show I've heard the word suicide being mentioned.
Yeah.
So there must be lots of pressures coming either from within or from without.
Yes.
Because we don't know, and we are standing from outside. Until you tell us exactly how does it feel, which world are you living in?
You know, the first thing that you as a child, you always see, you feel good time, and I don't fit in, I don't belong. I don't belong anywhere, so I would rather be indoors. Maybe I'm comfortable being by myself. And then that's when it happens, and you get to think, but then why can't I be normal like that one? Why can't I be? And then you become suicidal from that. And then you go and try to talk to people, and the next thing, most of them, well, this is the new South Africa, they exploit us. Okay, they want to hear our stories, and the next thing, you're a joke. Okay, they just don't get it. They don't want to get it. Some ask you offensive questions, so you can imagine when umntwana usakula, and the next thing, this is what happened. You understand?
They start poking,
you just can't take it. Okay, and I'm a role model. Like, we don't even know who to go to anymore, because not everyone is outspoken about who they are. And if I go to a pastor and pastor, no, let's pray it away, or you understand. So you feel good to go, okay, so I don't belong. I don't belong. So I think that's the reality. To just okay, who am I?
So it's identity issues.
They don't belong.
Okay. Wow.
It's quite interesting and also emotionally taking. I would like us to ask, for interest's sake, do you have siblings?
I do.
And how was the support from the siblings?
Well,
If it's a personal question, you're not comfortable to answer.
I'm trying to find a way to answer that one because I don't know where they stand, honestly speaking. But they also would say, well, you're very different. And growing up, we thought you were lesbian, but still, no, man. And then the one supportive person, I can say Usiswam, even though she doesn't understand, but she just doesn't want me to be suicidal or depressed. She just wants me to be happy and go to a point of which whatever it is, just even though that's not the response I wanted. You know, I wanted us to talk. I wanted her to know me. You understand? But the support is what I'm grateful for.
Now, from that support perspective, would you maybe perhaps share with us if there is a support structure or support groups? Because I like to believe that there are many of people like you out there, but they're indoors. They can't come out and they don't know where to go.
Well, there are people who are supportive. The only challenge, I think, is access to information. And most of them are resources that are limited to certain provinces. They don't even know what they are, or they don't even know who to talk to. So it's support.
Do you have support groups? Maybe
there are, but in limited areas, like I'm saying,
Would you perhaps share the names for us, just in case there are people who are
interested?
The
only one that I know is that of IPARA, because IPARA deals with a lot of intersex and transgender issues and cases. So there are support groups for us, and there are psychologists, certain psychologists who help and assist us in, well, let's say, okay, let's go visit your family. Okay, let's educate people. Do you want to write an article? Do you want to do this and that? Yeah, those.
That's how far it goes.
Yeah, I can say so. Yeah.
Career-wise and other things, how does this condition affect you?
It's the ID issue. Because
it comes back to the ID again.
I walk in a building and I say, my name is Posh and I'm here for an interview, and be like, but you don't look like a Posh. So you see now already, I feel uncomfortable. And then, but there are some welcoming employers out there, and then there are those who just want to understand. But it always comes down to the understanding and treatment.
Local groups or international groups or support groups. I'm over and above the medical side, but as people who are living a Kasi or something like that, do you have support groups,
No, we don't have those.
We don't have any support groups whatsoever.
If we do have, then we never really go. It's always the lesbians and the gays, because somehow we feel that we're not.
And sometimes you don't want to be in those cliques because due to the psychological issues. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Many, in my own small little research, many of the transgender and many of the transsexual and many of the gay space, the only door that most likely remains is the door of prostitution. Most likely. And then there, once you are in that corner there, it comes with drugs, it comes with suicide, it comes with, and the rest, the list goes endless. And it's actually another door that leads to death. In the space that people of your condition and people of your status would want to graft in the society and live as you are a normal person, but live as normal person. Allow me to use the as normal person. What are expectations? Either from, as I was asking Posh, from the government, what do you be expecting from them?
The government? Just give us the resources, let us make the information, let us just give people knowledge. Let us go out there, let us go to those rural areas, let us just tell people that this is normal, we exist, and this is how it turned out. We can be normal as any people, you understand? That's the only one dream that I have, I must say.
But for yourself as an individual, what's your dream? What's your dream for your life? What do you want to do with yourself?
I just want to be visible. I just want to be there. But I'm a normal person. I have my own dreams.
Okay.
Yeah, but I see myself writing books. I love to write. I'm not really outspoken. I'm a very shy
person.
I'm very shy.
Marriage?
Oh, gosh. I know... marriage.
But I heard you say you date. You know, when you date, there are expectations. You know, whether they're not on your side, but when you date anybody, whether there's two sentences or it's a whole page, immediately there is a relationship.
The thing is, it's never easy for someone like me. Like I'm saying, some people just want to experiment. So I'm not too trusting. So I don't know if I want to go there yet, because I'm still struggling now to get someone who can say, I've got your back and I understand you, and they actually mean it.
Okay. Yeah. Just a quick one on my side. When I was engaging with you guys earlier on, you mentioned that you are the big four or something like that. The power four.
Where are the other two? Honestly, I would want to host a bigger show. I would like to host a bigger show and maybe bring the whole team in so that the conversation actually can become much louder. And on the same wavelength, do you have any role models in the country, people who you look up to, who can be like
I am my own role model, actually. You know what I've been through. I am my own role model in my crew. Yeah, Makato is one of the people I can say I.
That's your crew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted
you were
to
asking.
Yes, I wanted to ask that you said you're powerful.
Powerful.
So that means you all of you are different as the four.
And we were all born intersex, which is also.
And we're all born intersex. Yes. Right. Now I also mentioned I think having the powerful, let them speak, because I think they've got different stories. We can look into it, as you just said.
Now, I think we will consider that. I will work around and we can bring you back and you can have a fuller, bigger show out there. But maybe a word of encouragement. You have survived suicide. What did you want to tell the young people out there who could be finding themselves in your situation? What do you want to tell them?
Just understand yourself, read more, learn. It's okay even if it doesn't apply. At least somehow you get to feel hope things are gonna get better because you exist. At the end of the day, we're born like that. So be strong.
And the community, anything you want to say to the community? Because the stigmatization and people are being marginalized and people are being called names and people laugh around and stuff like that. What would be your advice? What would be a word to the greater community out there?
Let us just celebrate diversity.
Celebrate diversity.
Please, do not impose. I always say some people are privileged because they never really get to sit down and explain with mama, my boy, or hey, mama, make I understand. The point big I should makato. Sometimes you just wish people would just celebrate you. That's all I can say to the community. Just please, let us be.
Wow, Coco. Over to you. I've no words. I've done many shows in the past, and this one is a curveball on my table, and I cannot lie and say I fully comprehend or I fully understand. I'll have lied. But from where I'm sitting, I think there are some community issues and some community instances where you notice that not only in my small little research again, where the diet of the days, the hormonal issues of the days, that now even the development of the embryos from conception to the whole state that the embryo is growing under, and at what weeks does the male kick in, does the female kick in, and the imbalances of those hormones can end up causing either someone to become more of this physically, more of this hormonally, and all those imbalances. So for me, it's not only talking about the physical side of now they are here and they have this condition that they have, but it goes back to parenting. I think it goes back to parenting, and I think I spoke to one gogo some time ago who was advising the young women that in the olden days, that's why women always used to walk around with a big blanket around their wombs. It was you. Big blanket around their womb, so that they keep their wombs warm. So that by the time you have a child, the womb is actually a warm place. But now our modern girls, stomachs out, they're in rev nights, all nights, and etc. And the small little kid, and the development of the fetus is hampered by drugs. In some certain cases, it can be hampered by weather conditions, can be hampered by the food that you're eating. Some are still drinking, and etc. And various other elements and by the time a child is born, you actually have a even alcohol syndromes. Parents who are drinking.
Another one is contraceptives. The impact of contraceptives. That's another one.
And by the time you're now transiting to have a child, the hormones have not yet
already set.
I don't know, Chief. I'm just maybe trying to look way before this could have happened. That it's not your fault that you could end up in this condition, but you are here in this condition. The question is, when we are talking to parents, that maybe making children. This is me now. Making children must not be entertainment. Making children must not be make up sex. making children cannot just be reckless. I think in the olden days, what they used to do is making children was preparation. It was literally a whole process of preparing to make children, and the conditions must be conducive, and so that some of these conditions maybe could have been, if they still happened. I'm not saying they didn't happen, but there was much more control around that.
Because what I would like to just to mention that when Posh says that he's a writer and everything, and they didn't know where to get there, no role models or anything. That for me is sparking something to say. I think that there's a lot of education that has to be in place, you know, and maybe you can use your skill to start writing that information for us, because you're saying that we want to educate and educate. You know, just start writing whatever article and whatever maybe we can just see how best we can foot that. Say,
and
okay,
I think
then
what Gogo
is
saying is very critical, very critical, Gogo, because I think the forerunners who have run ahead of the LGBT class, they've run into that space for glamour. They've run that space for drag queens, for wigs, and etc. And I think they've really, in the midst of, they've not helped the real cases. For me to sit with you right now, when we have bodies in the country that are supposed to be looking after the LGBT community, and then you sit here with me and say, there is no support at all. Because what do you expect from these organizations is having fat matches, field trumpets, putting on some tight little clothes, painted faces, big wigs, and they run around town, we're here, we support, we support, we support. And I think maybe she's saying, bring something very important, that maybe in the midst of your writing, we may want to build that information and have what I might want to call, again, pardon me, it's Maponga J, I speak freely, I speak what I want. Allow the legitimate people who have real problems. I mean, I would understand someone who is a full woman, who is attracted to the other side, and someone who is a fully man, and they're dealing maybe. But for me to see to the genuine case where people are literally born with a real condition that must be supported both by government and NGOs, and for them to sit here and say we actually don't have support for the legitimate cases, but we have enough money and support and commercialization of the cosmetic part of LGBT. Maybe I'm in trouble. I don't know. But from where I'm sitting, I don't think it's fair. I don't know. What's your comment on that?
I have none, actually. You've said it all.
Would that be your sentiment? That you are being represented by wrong people?
Let us tell our stories.
You want to tell your own story?
That's my big dream.
Sure.
You want to tell your own story. I want to challenge all the LGBT communities out there, both community and national and etc., wherever you are. Please give us a call here at Galaxy Universal Network. We'll put you in touch with these, my wonderful people. And again, in as much as we call them transgender, transvestile, I think for tonight I've learned something. It's horrible. It's horrible to classify people. Sure. I don't even want us to say male or female. Let's call each other human beings. I think that for me that would be like a basis of study, because immediately you say male or female. Now, what do you do with people that cannot identify with either one of them? We find ourselves compromised. And maybe I want to make an appeal to the entire African space. We have genuine cases, people who have such conditions. The question is, how are we dealing with them, and how are we coping with such situations? Maybe one last word. One last word for the community out there. What did you want to say?
Thank you, actually, for having us today. Even though indeed it would take us a lot of time to express ourselves the way we want or the way we wish. But still, there's nothing else I can say other than to just please embrace us and give us love and support. We are different, and unfortunately born like that, there's nothing we can do. So just accept us. Or at least tolerate us. If you can't accept us.
Send a word to your mother there. Send a word to your mother. Message to your mommy. Something nice, man.
I love you, Mama.
Oh, wow. Your sister?
I love you too.
A word to the big four.
Big power four.
We're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. Yeah.
Let's just keep on going, man.
Keep on going.
Yes.
You have our support, and I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. When we give you a phone call again to say come around and let's have a discussion, please. I want the all big four. I'll put 2 extra chairs here, and we can have a nice, wonderful afternoon, and we go through some of these issues, and we can have a conversation. And thank you very much, Posh, for coming through and spending some moments with me here.
My last word is that we need to get more education. Especially as as they are working in the rural areas, I would like us, as we proceed with the supporting them, let's expand as much as we can, because this is happening also like in a very bad way in the rural areas, and is classified like a taboo. And that is where the high rate of violence is. So am I pleased that let's support each other in this term and understand human race.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, all of you are out there in the community. If you want to make children, stay away from drugs, stay away from alcohol, stay away from bad conditions. Remember your decisions that you are making and how you are making those children and bringing out those children into existence could end up affecting and impacting the lives of those children. Let's take the whole process of making children as a sacred process. Let's do our level best and leave the rest to God. Your host, Maponga J, on your program Sankofa. Ndini chibwe chitedzachi nokubwanwana manga. Varipedwa notamba nacho chirera na vana vanji. Vanachigarama ukimatanda anovora. Tisu vana mtambane gore. Makumbo mana musendewe shano wida miti asoshe. Until we see you again, stay safe. Don't do what I wouldn't do. But if you do it better.